Hello and welcome back to the Truth About Weight Loss video series with Angela B and friends. So great to have you here again. We all have our behavioral patterns, and many of them are not helpful at all. Some can even put us in big trouble. Yet most of them are subconscious or even completely unconscious. When we are struggling with weight, there is always the aspect of imbalance in one way or another. That's why our body got out of balance. One possible behavior is to hoard things, which leads to stuck energy in our lives as well as in our bodies, because the body is always a reflection of our inner self. In today's video, with energy and Feng Shui expert Linda Binz talks about that connection.
In my years of coaching overweight and obese women, I have seen several patterns, and one of them I keep noticing is the tendency to take more than to give. Not generally, but in some particular areas. And the most demanding clients I had were the obese ones. The ones that were also not able to give very well when it comes to material things. I'm not saying that all overweight clients had this tendency, but it was something that I noticed in many of them. Do you think that accumulating clutter could be part of the same behavior? And the reason why I'm asking this is if we can identify the underlying problem, we can change the behavior pretty easily. Many of my clients are at the point that they are willing and ready to understand their underlying issues and do what is necessary to transform their lives, although some issues may not be so easy to swallow.
Yes, it's interesting because, it's not always something that we want to hear, but I do think you're right that what tends to happen is that overweight people very often are needy people. They need something. They're trying to feed themselves emotionally, which if they overeat, then that's one reason they do that. And so they're desperately searching for something to fill them up. And that may be attention, that may be love, it may be needing something from people. So they can come across as very needy. And that can come across as being selfish in a way, but it's a way of filling that emotional void, and they never can fill it up because they're not addressing the core issue. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it can result in that kind of behavior.
I believe that at one point of their life they really haven't been emotionally nurtured, probably in their childhood, and now they are not very well able to emotionally nurture themselves now as they are grown up.
Well, yeah, it's so true. There's something missing. They haven't been nurtured, and so they try to do that in every way they can think of, and one of those ways may be food, it may be attention, but other ways can be by buying things, by surrounding yourself with things. It's like filling your life up with things, thinking that that's going to help you, and it really doesn't. And some people even get to the point of being so attached to their things that it's really, really hard for them to let go. And it could be all sorts of things that they collect or hang on to, but they can find it really emotionally difficult to let go of anything. And that's a sign that they don't love themselves and they don't know how to. And it's like being emotionally bankrupt, really.
Yeah, it really is love that they have lacked at some point of their lives. And I also think that for many people, like you said before, throwing things away can feel like a risk, like losing something, like losing something that they subconsciously feel is important to them, even if it doesn't really is important. But how can this fear be overcome?
Do you remember that Dr. Carlson recently said that the truth could hurt sometimes? I don't know how about you, but this is a topic I personally found very hard to accept and deal with, because I didn't have really a happy childhood, and there was definitely something missing as a child. It was something I didn't like to hear, but I'd personally rather take the uncomfortable path and then be done with the issue, no matter how much it hurts. At some point we have to choose between keeping the problem in our lives and be hurt over and over and over again, or become free, understanding that keeping the status quo is much more painful than facing it and then letting it go. Since you are watching this video series, I assume that you are willing and ready to finally lose that extra weight as well, no matter what it takes. Believe me, dealing with the problem, no matter how uncomfortable it makes you feel, is still much less painful than living with your extra weight for years. It's like pulling off a band-aid quickly and then you're done with it. In our last video with Dr. James Carlson, he was talking about the cholesterol lie in connection with weight. In the next video, he will continue with the topic. It's an important topic because so many weight-struggling women still believe the cholesterol myth and mistreat their bodies with low-fat diets. There is a much better way to get a handle on your cholesterol and eventually on your weight. So, see you in my next video. Happy slimming!